Yo, what's up guys? Today I want to talk about one of the best witch minion builds for Path of Exile 2's new Abyssal League. And with the release of this league, we got Act 4. And as of yesterday, they released a patch that lets us turn all of the minions in Act 4 into Spectres. So I went around all the different zones raising these Spectres yesterday, and I found one. I found one which is above all the rest, in my opinion. And it is so much fun, it is so strong, and it is these ones here. It is the Twilight Oathsworn. And basically they're like these wizard type people that have a book, and they just fire this laser. And not only does this laser do a good amount of damage, it tracks the mob. So if you're clearing a map and the monsters are just running around, say doing an abyssal, and all the monsters are just like roaming around, these lasers will just glue to the mob until they're defeated. They just melt these mobs. So when you have like 10 plus of these, these Twilight Oathsworn, they're just destroying everything on the screen. You can clear tier 15 maps so fast with these. There's going to be a full build guide going over everything. So if you're looking for a fun minion build and you want to move away from the ants have been the most popular so far, then this is definitely one you need to try. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so before we get into the details of what every single skill gem does and, where to put your passive points, all that stuff, I just want to quickly talk about the mechanics that make up a minion build like this if you've not played one before. So the main goal on this build is we're using Spectres. We're using these Twilight Spectres, and what we want to do is first we rely on Muster. So Muster is an ability where the more mobs we have out, we get 7% more damage. So we have one of every mob, pretty much, like one of every skeleton, to empower all of these Twilight Oathsworn. So you can see these, I've got 11 right now, and by having all these little minions, we power them up. The next trick is to get we stack as much spirit as possible. I'm on 517 right now, but you can get, much higher. You can get into 600s and 700s, I think. So yeah, that's the second thing we're trying to do. We're trying to stack spirit and stack damage into these mobs as well as we can. The way we do that is first we go Infernalist. So if you're playing a Lich and you want to switch, you can do that now as well. You just complete the Ascendancy again. But what we do is we go Infernalist and we take this node here, 1 max spirit per 25 max health. So then we're looking for health everywhere we can get it. And then we also take this shield, which is the Prism Guardian, which gives 1 max spirit per 25 life. So the more life we have, we're doubling down on spirit everywhere. And then we're looking for plus minion skills and, spirit reservation to have better reservation of our spirit. So we don't use as much for our summons. So that's the main thing, just stacking as much spirit, making the most of our spirit, and just pulling out as many of these things as we can. And then if you've never played with Spectres before, you need to get a normal skill gem. So you'll grab one of these and you'll just create a Bind Spectre. You create Bind Spectre. You'll then equip it and put it on your bar as an ability of the Bind Spectre ability. And then as you're going around the map, as you defeat mobs, you press that ability and you can target the mob and raise them. So where you want to go is you want to go to, let me just jump in the waypoint. You want to go to Act 4 and you want to go to this zone here. Arastas. You want to go there. That is the zone. It's like a town, and you want to go there and head up a little. In the very early start of that zone, you'll see these mobs just roam around and you can't miss them. But yeah, that's how we get these minions. Okay, so let's go over all of the different gems and the supports. I will just say before we get into this, there is a known bug or issue with Muster. I don't know if this has been fixed yet, but I've been playing as if it hasn't, just in case. The way Muster is supposed to work is you just put it on your main minion and it gets a damage increase for every other minion type you have. However, this was bugged where you had to have Muster on all of your other minions for it to receive the buff. I don't know if it got fixed. I've not heard of it getting fixed. If it has, let me know and you can replace this. I'll change the guide to show loads of different skills. But as of right now, I've got Muster on every single minion just in case. And, it's a lot of damage, so you don't want to lose that. It's 7% times 8 minions. It's a lot. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of. So we have Muster on first the Infernal Hound, and then we have Muster Rapid Attacks 2 for increased damage. We have Fire Exposure to make them exposed to fire, which is important for our Spectre as they deal fire damage. And then we have Hulking Minions. Minions are gigantic, which means they have more life, deal more damage, but cost more spirit. We have this on our Hellhound because our Hellhound costs no spirit. There's a free summon for being an Infernalist. Then we go down. These are just, our equipped items. Then we have the Skeletal Cleric. This is the healer and the reviver. We go for Muster again, we go for Rapid Casting 2, and we go for Brutus Brain, a new unique support gem. The reason we do this is they can't be damaged, but they deal no damage, which is amazing because they're healers, which is perfect. I run 2 of these, you can run 1. I would normally say if you're on a break point where having 1 would let you have another minion. So if I could go down to 1 and then get another one of these scepters out. You could do that. I mean, right now, if I get that guy out as well, I can't do that. You know, so if I have all my minions out, I can't squeeze a third one out, squeeze an extra one out. So I would just have 2 clerics. If you have a little bit of spare spirit, chuck an extra cleric in. That's what I would suggest. Okay, Skeletal Brute. These have a pretty good command ability, which is pretty useful, which you can use on your hotbar. And then with these, we go Muster again. We go for the Minion Mastery for an extra minion level, and then Sacrificial Lamb. This just means that when you do your Pain Offering, which is where you sacrifice a minion to buff the damage of all the others, you buff their speed and damage. When you do this, it will target that guy. It will target the Skeletal Brute, which is good because he doesn't, you know, I don't find it as useful as having the other mages and the clerics and stuff, so it's a good one to target. Then we go for Skeletal Storm Mage, again, Muster, Shock, and then Rapid Casting 2. Basically anything we can, we go Rapid Casting or Rapid Attacks. Then we've got Skeletal Frost Mage, so we go Muster, Rapid Casting 2, Multi-Shot, and then Freeze for Freeze build-up. We go for Skeletal Sniper, we go for Muster, we go for Ricochet, and then we go for Rapid Attacks 2. I actually need to upgrade that to 2. Then we go for Pain Offering, Magnified Area. That's this thing here. So we go for Magnified Area. So this buffs in a bigger circle, which is good for clearing. Prolonged Duration, so they stay up for longer. And then Dance Macabre lets you have 30% increased buff effect, and they target an additional skeletal minion. So like another one will be sacrificed, but you'll get a better buff from it. Okay, Elemental Weakness. I've tried this on and off. I don't think it's that useful. At the minute, I've just got Magnified Area 2 and High End Curse. It's okay. It's something to press. You know, as a minion build, we don't really have much to do with our hands, but it's something to press. Unearth is the thing you'll be doing a lot of. So the way Unearth works is when there are mobs on the ground that you've defeated, you can then raise those as little scorpions. So I went with Heft. Rapid Attacks 2 is all I've really gone in here, because you can't use this really that much on bosses, so it's mostly just for like clearing, a little bit of damage. You can throw in Brutality 3 into here as well if you want, for a bit more damage. And you can also go like with some other things if you want, but I just have it pretty minimal. Then we have the big ones, which I'll pull up here. The Spectres, Twilight Oathsworn. So with these, we go for Feeding Frenzy 2, 30% more damage. We go for Muster, we go for Rapid Casting 2, and then we go for Wild Shards. Now, the reason we go for Wild Shards is there is a tech you can do with these for move speed. So you're doing a map and you're trying to get around. One thing you're going to notice is if I move around, if I move with these guys, you see they get quite far behind. They don't have the fastest movement speed. They try and like phase to you, but they're pretty slow, right? With a lot of minions, to be honest. So one thing you can do, which really does help, is if you go into your skill and you go into your minion that you want to do this with, and you set them to weapon set 1, you summon 11. So you just open it with this. Weapon set 2, you summon 0, right? So then what we do is you can see your weapon sets here. You can lock them to have both in the same slot, so you don't actually have to weapon switch slot. You actually have to weapon switch. They just act as if you're weapon switching. And then what we do is say we're moving down here where there's no mobs in the middle, and we're going towards an abyss. You would put them away, you would come over here, drop in front of the mobs, and just spawn all your minions. So you can just open up in the middle. I showed it at the start. You'll open up near all the minions, and they'll just burst their damage. And the way that the wild shards work is that will then AoE all around. So you'll be in the middle and drop all that damage right in the middle of all your enemies. It's really strong. It's a little risky in that, you know, we're putting ourselves in front of mobs with no minions for like a second. But yeah, once you get used to it, you just sort of move along, you put them away, and then you drop them out. It's really fast. It's the fastest way to like get your minions where you want them. I find it really, really useful, especially with maps. So yeah, that's all of the gems. Okay, when it comes to the Ascendancies, it is Infernalist. You can run this as a Lich. You will have less spirit, which means you'll have less minions. But you do have Unholy Might, I think, on the left side here, which will give you a I think it makes your minions deal more chaos damage, which is actually really, really good. So Lich would work. It would work completely fine, but I prefer Infernalist to minion builds just because we have significantly more spirit. So you go down here, summon Infernal Hound. That's a free minion. It's a free damaging, pet. And you can put Muster on that. So that's 7% more damage for the minions that you're funneling all your damage into. Then we go down here, Life. We go for damage transfer, and so we can get down to here. And then we go for this one here. Reserves 25% of life to +1 max spirit per life. So this is why in the bottom left, if I take my camera off, you will see our life is kind of capped. So we only have half the life we should have. It's like reserved. So we're kind of like relying heavily on our energy shield. However, for doing that, we get every 25 health, we get 1 extra spirit, which is really, really, really good. Then we go into this one here, which gives us energy shield. For every 8 life, we get 1 max energy shield. So it's not as bad as those builds where you kind of play on like 1 HP and then you max out your energy shield. It's not that bad. And like if you do take a hit and go into your health, you can just pop and your energy shield comes back. So it's really not bad. And the spirit we get from it is so worth it. Then onto the passive tree. On the passive tree, this is how I would set it up. You want to run down. You pretty much just go in all minions. This is a very what's the word? Like glass cannon. You're going all in on your minions. We're not really doing much. We're just positioning our minions really and debuffing the enemies and raising skeletons. So we want to run down all of the minion nodes here. We go into here for minions deal more damage. We go straight down the middle for minion damage, attack, and cast speed. We come up to here. We go down into here for the big energy shield cluster. You could take this node out. I don't need that node. And then you come into this cluster here. And this is like minions revive faster. Minions have more life. Minions have more. Minions break armor. Minions deal increased attack speed and movement speed. Grab that cluster. Then we come up to here, get the gem. We go down to here. Minions have more life and recovery and chaos resistance. Up to here for minions have increased resistance and deal 10% of physical damage as chaos damage, which is why this can be fun on Lich, where you're also getting chaos damage from Unholy Might. Coming down into the bottom, you get this big circle for energy shield, and that takes you to your big minion cluster. Attack speed, cast speed, attack speed, cast speed. We go into here, revive faster, and then area effect and cooldown recovery rate. Come up to here, and this is really important for 4% increased spirit. Absolutely huge. This build relies heavily on as much spirit as we can get. And then we would go back up here. Now, I would then head, I don't think you would go right. No, you would go left. You would head left and you would come along this thing here. You'd grab the energy shield. You'd come up here and you'd grab all of these minion nodes, leading to 12% increased reservation efficiency of minion skills, which is basically just means you can summon more minions for the amount of spirit you have. Come along, get the gem, come along again. There's one node here for 10% increased damage. I would grab this. You can go in a little bit further if you want, but I mean, you can. Once we've talked about everything else, I would come back and get these 3 nodes. I've put it in the actual build guide, which is linked down below, but I don't have the points for it yet. I'm like level 80. I don't have the points for this yet. I would go up here and get these 3 as a last, because they're going to buff your scorpions and give you a little bit of damage to everything else. Come along down here and grab this cluster, which gives you minions have 5% attack and cast speed. Down here, and we go down here for minions deal increased damage, leading to 25% increased damage. Now, once you've done all of that, I would then come along to the right side and grab this here, 22% elemental resistance for minions. Come along to there, get the gem socket, and then, like I say, you would finish this line here and get these 3 here. That's pretty much going to take you into the 90s. That's how I would set this up for your passives. There's not really any point in doing weapon sets, switching. I mean, you can, but we don't really do a lot of curses. We don't really do any spell damage. So I personally wouldn't worry about it. On my Lich, I was stressing the importance of weapon switch. I don't think it's that important in this one, so I've just run it all just naturally with your normal skill points. Okay, now let's talk about how to gear this build, and there's 3 things to remember when it comes to gearing. One is we want minion levels everywhere we can get it. Minion levels lead to extra levels of our gem. So my minion level is 27, so the Spectre is level 27, but the gem is only like 18. I believe I'm missing like 2 or 3 levels, so this could be 30, and with a level 20 gem, that would be 32. So I'm missing like 4 or 5 levels here. So you can get this really high, and that's a massive damage increase. So you want minion levels everywhere you can get it. The other thing you want is spirit. Spirit is more minions, more spirit, more minions. Along with that, you also want spirit reservation, because, so for example, I've got it on my helmet. You can see 7% spirit reservation efficiency of skills. This has come with the desecration. You can desecrate this onto your gear. So amazing. That just means that it basically means that the amount of spirit that it needs to summon stuff is lower. So, you can get more out of your spirit pool. The next thing we need is life. It sounds silly because we're sacrificing our life, but life leads to spirit. Our shield and our our Ascendancy, both give us more spirit the more life we have. So we want to be stacking life everywhere we can get it. With that in mind, let's go through the gear. Some of this stuff is going to look expensive because I have spent a few divines on some things, but I'll show you some budget versions. So first up, Sceptre. Sceptre is our big damage. You want to go as hard on this as you can. It has spirit, it has minion levels, it has boosts to your minions damage. So if I do this, you can see the gem itself. Allies deal 30% increased damage. Allies deal increased damage. Allies have added attack damage. Extra spirit. I've only got a tier 5 spirit roll. You can get a lot more spirit than 140. I've got +4 to levels of minions and minion attack speed. That's kind of what you're looking for. Everything minion based. Minion fire damage would be good as well. Anything that gives minions more damage works really well. Now, that's this is going to set you back like quite a bit. That's quite an expensive scepter. But you can just get, you know, if you're just starting out, +2 to minion levels, and then a ton of spirit, and then some increased damage. That'll be very affordable. On the shield, we are looking for the Prism Guardian, and the only thing we care about here is this bottom thing here. +1 to max spirit per 25 max life. I don't think this is like wildly expensive. Let me just quickly look. If I go Prism Guardian. Yeah, you can pick this up, 5 annulments. It's really not that bad. You can definitely get this on a budget. This really isn't too bad. If I go Exalted Orbs as well, it's like less than 2 divines. It's like 1 and a bit divine. Yeah, really not too bad. You can save up one of those. Then we go for the rings. I'll talk about the rings as well because I'm going to look those up. The rings, we use Venter's Gamble. Venter's Gamble gives us spirit. I think it's the only ring, could be wrong, or the one I've always used that gives spirit. You can get up to 20 spirit per ring. And these will range in price depending on the other things. Because they're called the Venter's Gamble, they can have negatives. They can have negative lightning resistance, negative cold, negative fire, negative rarity. So what you want to be looking for is rings that have a good amount of spirit, because with 2 rings, you could have 40 spirit more. And they don't go into the negatives on resistance. So if you wanted a really like budget, a really budget gamble, I go here, Venter's Gold Ring. You can see they start out at like 1 Exalted, right? But they have small negatives. So it's on you just to look through. I mean, look at this one here, right? The 3 spirit. Just look through it. Try and find ones that have a good amount of spirit. You can probably get like 10 to 15 spirit with like everything around 0 for a fairly good, you know, under a divine. Okay, they're like the uniques. The other unique we have is this one here, the Bones of Ulla. And this one's not too bad. This is not too bad to get. And this gives you more reservation. I think it goes up to 30. You get to 30 reservation of skills, which is really nice. So they're like the big items. Then we go for the helmet. On the helmet, we are looking for minion skills. We are looking for increased spirit reservation efficiency of skills, which is, you know, the new thing. Absolutely amazing. I crafted this myself, and it costed about 3 divines to make, and you could probably buy one for 5. So yeah. If you have the budget. If you don't, just get minion skills. Just get +2 levels to minion skills and some energy shield, and that'll be more than enough. 7% is good, but it's not needed. Basically, you can run this on like 350, 400 spirit on a big budget. Just pure budget, 350 spirit, and just as you make more divines, get the better gear. With the amulet, again, this isn't great. I've got +3 to minion skills, health, and spirit. The best version of this is to run what they called, it's the amulet that has spirit at the top. Gold? Yeah, spirit at the top, and then you would have like 55 spirit here as well. Then you have +3 to all minion skills, and then you have life. That's like the #1 thing you'd be looking for. We allocate Warlord Leader to this, because if we go in the passive tree, Warlord Leader is down here, and it gives 40% increased presence, 40% increased damage to allies in your presence. So it's a 40% damage buff to all your minions. Really good. Then that's the big stuff really. On the gloves, I think you just want to be looking for health. You just be looking for health and resistances. Yeah, you mostly just looking for resistances because we don't want attack steal damage, because that doesn't translate to our minions. On the belt, again, life and resistances, because we're going to be a bit low on resistances in other areas. And that's pretty much the gear. I think I've talked about everything. That's what we're looking for. Don't look at my gear and go, oh, there's no way I can get to that level. It's too expensive. I played this with nothing. I played this with like 350 spirit, playing in like tier 5 maps, and it was fun. So just save up and you can easily get some good pieces. But I could probably spend 100 divines and still be away from where some of these people are. There's a belt, for example, that has, I've linked it in my build guide, and it's let me find it for you. So this item, this belt is called Darkness Enthroned. I would avoid this. I would not get this unless you are just absolutely juiced on divines. What you would be looking for is you would be looking for this, and you can see it's a belt with 2 sockets, and it gives you, the item gives increased effect of socketed items, and the gems can act as if they were somewhere else. So shield, gloves, and the one you'll be looking for is helmet. This one here. Item gains bonuses from socketed items as though they were a helmet. And you can see 77% increased effect, acts as if it was a helmet. Only 1 exalted. Why am I not recommending it? Because the gems that you would want to put in there are these ones here. The 6% increased reservation of minion skills. It's an incredible gem, and if you had it in your belt, it would be 6% doubled, and you can have 2. So what, 24 reservation? Incredible. Why am I not recommending it? Is because if we look at the price of it right now, we go currency exchange, I want Ralakesh, I have divines, it's 4 divines each. So this, just to put the gems in your belt would be 8 divines. So even though the belt is only 1 exalted, it's going to cost you 8 divines to put them in. So get it if you want it. I don't have it yet. Yeah, that's the build. I wanted to I don't normally go over the prices of things, but for some reason, Spirit Gear is way more overpriced than it should be. I don't know why people are pricing it so high. You can go on the market and you can buy a +3 to minion skills neck, right? You can buy a +3 to minion skills neck for 5 exalteds, 10 exalteds. But if you wanted to buy one that was fully crafted, it's like 10 divines. So just be very, very frugal and very watch your budget. Don't fall for these crafters that are overpricing stuff. And yeah, you'll be fine. This build is fine on a budget, and it just gets even better when you've got some good spirit stacking. But that's the build. Hope you found it useful. If you do consider subscribing to the channel. Loads more guides and builds and all that fun stuff to come. So thank you everyone who's got this far. I really appreciate it. But take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.